Hey there, in this video we're going to look at real-life examples of Xlookup. Now, how can you achieve a two-way lookup using Xlookup? That says you have one lookup value, but you want to see more than one parameter for that lookup value. What am I saying? You have a product, you want to probably see the cost of the product, the sales you've made on the product, and the profit you've made on the product, or you want just one function to achieve this for you, or you want at the click of a button to be able to see two things at the same time, right? So you can use Xlookup for that. Then we'll see how it can help you achieve a horizontal lookup. That way you're doing away with your HLOOKUP. We'll also see how you can use it for a partial match. That is, we'll use the wildcard functionality of Xlookup to basically look for a full name out of, if the only thing you have is probably a first name and you can't remember the last name. We see how Xlookup can help you get out a full name, using the partial match functionality or the wildcard functionality of Xlookup. We'll also look at how we can use Xlookup to achieve approximate match. That is, you want to return to the nearest hundreds or to the nearest thousands or something very close to what you're looking for. You want a function to return that for you. Xlookup can really do that. So let's quickly go into our Microsoft Excel environment and see how this can pan out in Xlookup. First, we'll look at how Xlookup can help us resolve the #NA errors in Microsoft Excel. That is, as against you trying to nest if error with VLOOKUP or if error with any other thing. That is, you want to tell Excel if whatsoever result or whatsoever output this formula I'm writing, if whatsoever the output is will result in an error, that is, maybe it is not available in the entire data set. As against writing #NA, you want to tell Excel to probably write something more meaningful. You may want to say, oh, put a text in there to say not found. Or you want to tell Excel to say, just put 0 or just put something that I can perform calculation on. Usually it will be 0, right? So as against trying to say, use if error, you can use Xlookup straight up to say, if a value is not found, as against returning #NA or the error signs or the error text, please return 0. So let's look at how Xlookup can help us achieve that. Now, in this data set, it's an HR data set of some people in a company that we don't know, and their departments, their monthly salary, their net salary, and their 13th month allowance. Now, you're the HR analyst, and you're wondering how you're going to resolve this because their 13th month allowance is not on this sheet that we are on. However, it's on the employee master sheet. On the employee master sheet, you have the employee ID, their base salary, which is different from their monthly salary, and you already have their 13th month salary in there. So let's quickly look at how we can bring the 13th month salary from here and how we can put it in this particular sheet. All right, so we'll look at the three compulsory arguments in Xlookup, then we'll look at how we can resolve every other thing with the optional argument. So let's quickly resolve the #NA errors and how Xlookup will help us. So I'm going to bring 13th month here. So I'll say equal to Xlookup. Xlookup, what's my lookup value? This time around, my lookup value is I'm looking for the 13th month allowance of Dorcas Tunde, of Chris Darlington, and like that. So what am I looking for? What's my lookup value right now? It is Dorcas Tunde, because Dorcas Tunde is a unique identifier that is present on this sheet and is also present on employee master sheet. So I'm going to reference the name, Dorcas Tunde, then I fulfill that argument. I'll put a comma. The lookup array, so I want to tell Excel where to look up for the name. Now, I can go and reference the entire sheet. I can go and reference the next sheet. However, in this kind of scenario, please always remember to lock your cells. Now, this is the lookup array, that is, I want it to look for it in the employee name column, right? However, because I plan to drag down this particular formula or this particular function, I'm going to use my F4 to lock the cells. If you've not learned about absolute referencing, please check other videos and look at absolute referencing. So I've logged that, and basically what that means is I've applied the $ in front of the row number and the column alphabet. You can see $. I've logged it basically so that Excel doesn't shift relatively. Now that I've fulfilled my lookup array. Now my return array is the next argument. I'll put a comma. The return array, what do I want back in return? I want the 13th month. So I'm going to tell it the column where the 13th month figures are in. So I'm going to quickly align the entire array and also lock that guy. So I'm going to press F4. On other keyboards, as against pressing F4, you may have to press the function button and the F4 button, whatever works for the manufacturer of your keyboard. Please make sure you double check and see what works for you. All right, so now we just want to basically see how we'll use basic Xlookup to bring the 13th month to that particular sheet, and we'll see what our result would look like. So I'm going to close my function, and I'm going to hit my enter button. Now, I have my 13th month for this particular employee, Dorcas, and I'm going to drag this all down to row 17. Now, the challenge now is some of the employees do not have 13th month, or they are not present in that sheet. For a weird reason, they are not there. We could quickly check Dolly Parton. So Dolly Parton, I take a quick look for Control F. I take a quick look of Control F here to look for Dolly Parton, right? Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton is nowhere to be found on this sheet. So which means Excel is right. Dolly Parton is not there. However, if you wanted to perform an arithmetic operation like a sum on this data set, you won't be able to, because these hash NAs will be disturbing you because they are not numerical values. You won't be able to do anything. So what do you do in this kind of situation? You want it to automatically turn them to 0. So we'll continue and we'll use the if error. We'll use the if not found. We'll use the if not found argument. It's an optional argument within Xlookup function. So we'll just continue. The next argument says if not found. It's optional because it's in a square bracket. So I'm just going to continue this formula and write comma. If not found, I'm going to press escape because I'm not on the first cell that I intend to drag down. So I'm going to come back here and continue just like that. So if not found, I want to tell Excel to please write 0. So I'm just going to write 0 here, and I will hit my enter button. Now, this time around, I can safely then drag down, and I will see that Excel has basically taken out all the hash NAs that we have in those cells, and whatever arithmetic operations or whatever calculation I want to perform, I can conveniently perform it on this particular data cell. So that is how you can use Xlookup to take care of not found errors within Microsoft Excel. Performing a two-way lookup in Microsoft Excel with Xlookup is one that I find very, very fascinating because I'm able to look at two things all at once on a particular lookup value or on a particular parameter, and I can see two things all at once with one function. So what am I saying? So I'm an HR analyst, and I probably want to see Dorcas's monthly salary and 13th month allowance at the same time within this data set, or every other person in this data set. I want to be able to just click a button and see their monthly salaries and their 13th month allowance, and I want to be able to switch. So let's quickly see how we can achieve that. Now, I'll basically, first of all, before we proceed, we will perform some form of data validation. So let's quickly validate this cell to have all the employees' name, and we would put in our lookup values or our lookups that we want to look up their monthly salary and their 13th month allowance. So let's quickly come to our data tab. I'll come to the data validation. This time around, I want a list, and I want it to be the list of names here. And we have that, so we can have the list of the names of the employees here. Now, however, here I want to also conduct a data validation, make it a list. This time around, I want it to be any of monthly salary of 13th month, right? And I will say okay, which means when I click on these drop downs, the top drop down, I want to see the names of the employees, and the other drop down here, I want to see their 13th month monthly allowance, right? Or whatever it is I want to see here. Now let's quickly then we can put Dorcas Tunde's name here. All right, so let's look at how we can use Xlookup to do a two-way lookup. Now we will use an approach called nesting that says we'll put Xlookup inside Xlookup. It's not difficult, but follow closely and you would understand what I mean. So I'm going to call equal to Xlookup. Now again, remember we want to, our lookup value is the employee's name. We want to know the employee is the constant, that is, we want to know Dorcas's monthly salary, or we want to know Dorcas's 13th month allowance. The employee's name is the constant, so that's my lookup value. So I'm just going to reference this cell, this same cell that I had performed data validation on, so that whenever the name changes away from Dorcas, it can dynamically give me the corresponding, the value corresponding to whoever the name is in the active cell. All right, so that's my lookup value. What's the lookup array? Where do I want to find Dorcas, or where do I want Excel to look for Dorcas or that name? So I'm going to highlight, look for Dorcas here, right? Now, then lookup array. So that's my lookup array, that is A4 to A17, that's my lookup array. Now then the return array. So what do I want to return? That is where the Xlookup, the second Xlookup come in. So what do I want to return? I want to return any of monthly salary or 13th month allowance. However, I want to introduce another Xlookup. So in this case, I'm going to say Xlookup. Now this time around, what am I then looking for? This time around, I'm looking for any of monthly salary or 13th month allowance. So I'm going to click here. This cell that I have performed the data validation on is the new lookup value. All right. What's the new lookup array? What's the new lookup array for these guys? This is their lookup array, that is monthly salary and 13th month. Now, what is the return array? That is, where are the values exactly? All right, so I'm going to just highlight both columns where the values for 13th month and monthly salary reside in, and that will be my return array. So I'm going to close the brackets. And I don't necessarily need to fulfill any argument or any optional argument. So I'm going to close the bracket twice, so because I have put two functions in one another. So I'm going to hit enter, and we can see automatically it's telling me Dorcas Tunde's monthly salary is 11,649, which is correct. So let's switch to David Joel. David Joel's monthly salary is 18,701. If I don't want to see David Joel's monthly salary, I want 13th month allowance, we can easily see that's 10,357, and like that continually you can keep switching to see what you want per time. So Abiba Yankari 13th month allowance is 6,104. If you don't want the 13th month allowance, it could be monthly salary, it basically, and this could be part of a mini dashboard that you're probably building for your team, while your data set can be in another worksheet that you can even leave eating from them. You can just put these 3 lines or these three rows and put it in a separate, fine, neat worksheet as a dashboard or as a part of a dashboard that is very dynamic, and you can easily toggle it. So your boss wants to know who's Dora James, what's Dora James' monthly salary, or what's Dora James's 13th month allowance, and they can know, Dora James doesn't have a 13th month allowance, so let's check Dora James. Does he have a monthly allowance or 13th month allowance? No, this person doesn't have. So that is how Xlookup can help you perform a two-way lookup within Microsoft Excel. Let's talk about wildcards. As the name implies, wildcards are playing cards that in a game that the player is at the player's discretion of whatsoever they define the card to be. It can mean any color, any suite. It can have any property that the player gives to it. So like a placeholder card, right? It's very similar with what you have in Microsoft Excel. But what is the use case where you would need to use the wildcard functionality of Xlookup, or where you would need it's because one of the optional arguments is a search mode in Xlookup that you can use to perform what we call a partial match. So take, for example, you have you have a large data set running into the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, and maybe it has to deal with first name and last name, or the name of a product. The product probably has 2 names or 3 names. However, this time around, what you have that you want to extract out, you only have maybe the first name, or you only have the last name, and you want to be able to extract out the full name of the entire product set. So you're wondering, how can you take care of a scenario like that? And you want to draw out the full name of the particular employee, or the particular product, or the particular area, whatever it is. So let's quickly use the wildcard functionality of Microsoft Excel to do that. Now we'll use it to bring out the full name of this particular employees. We only have their first name, and we want to know their full names. The same way, you only have the last name of these guys, and you want to know their first name. So let's quickly talk about wildcards definition within Microsoft Excel. All right, so think of them as placeholders, the way you would just have placeholders when you're playing a card. So think of them as placeholders, and they are usually special characters. The most commonly used is the asterisk sign, and basically you want to use it as a text within, of course, it will be in inverted quotation, so that you can use it to denote that I'm reserving it for something. I don't know what it is, but it's a text that I don't know what it is. So basically, they are special characters that are used in combination with other characters to represent unknown or other variable values in a search criteria. Let's not take it further. Just know them that they are used to represent a placeholder text. So let's quickly see how the wildcard functionality of Microsoft or of Xlookup can help us find the full name of these guys. So let's take Chris, and I'll say equal to Xlookup. Now, my lookup value in this case is Chris, because it's Chris I'm looking for, but I don't know Chris's last name. So I want Excel or Xlookup to bring me the entire full name. So Chris is my lookup value. However, I'm aware that Chris is the first name. There is a last name. So there is a way I have to combine Chris and my wildcard together. Now I'm going to reference Chris. That is, Chris is the first name, which means I need a last name. Now I'm going to introduce the ampersand sign. Basically, it's a combination. It's a command I can use to combine text together. So I'm going to use the ampersand sign, and here we are. And I want to specify the last name that I don't know. So I'm going to put that in inverted commas. My wildcard right now is an asterisk sign or an asterisk symbol. So I'm going to put the asterisk symbol in there, use my inverted comma still, and I'll press comma. So this entire expression is my lookup value. I'm basically telling Excel, this is what I'm looking for. Now, where is your lookup array? I want Excel to look for Chris. I want Excel to look for Chris in employees master sheet. So I think there's a master sheet here that has the name. So I'm just going to take the entire array to say, look for Chris inside this particular array, right? Again, because I intend to copy down that formula, I'm going to lock that cell. So I'm going to press F4 to lock that cell. So what's my next thing? My next argument says return array. What should I return? Fortunately for us, the lookup array is also the return array, because this time around it's still the name I want it to return. So I'm going to reference that array again, and I'm going to log that because I intend dragging that because I'm looking for more than one. So I'm going to log that way. However, that is not where my writing of this function stops. I'm going to extend it and fulfill the match mode argument. So I'm going to put a comma. The next argument says if not found, but that's not what I'm interested in. So I'm going to skip it. So I won't write anything. That's what I mean. So I'm going to put another comma. Then it moves to the next one. The next mode says match mode. So match mode basically is asking, do you want an exact match? exact match or next smaller item, or exact match or next bigger item or larger item. I don't want any of those three, but I want the wildcard character match. So I'm just going to go down, and use my tab button to pick that guy. You could use your cursor or your touchpad to do, or your mouse pad rather, to do that. So I've basically picked that match mode that I want, and I will close my argument. I'll close my argument, and basically I should be good. Right, so I'll hit the enter button, and we can see that Excel has brought out the full name for me. That is, it is Chris Darlington. Now, because I've fixed myself, so I'm going to basically drag down, and we can see that Excel has returned the last name of everybody on this list. That is Chris, Darlington, David, Linda, Ahive, and all of that. So I hope that this has really been helpful. I'm going to leave the last name portion. So you just basically, I'm going to leave the last name portion so you can also try your hands on it and do like a reverse, the way I did, lookup value, ampersand, wildcard character, which basically means this time around you're looking for first name. So which means your wildcard character comes first, then you reference the lookup value like that, and you would be good. All right, so in the next video, let's quickly see how we can use Xlookup for approximate match. Now, the data set took a little twist because this time around it's year end and the company wants to declare profit sharing. Who doesn't like profit sharing? And it's always very, very fantastic thing. It's a joyous atmosphere. And now you're laden with the task to be able to determine each individual's profit sharing bonus, that is maybe the percentage and all of that. And you've been given this schedule to say everybody's profit sharing will be a fraction of their base salary. But the base salary didn't come individually, right? The base salary came like a band that says whosoever is earning 50,000 as a base salary, that is earning up to 50,000 naira or $50,000 as a base salary, would get a 5% profit sharing bonus, a 5% of their base salary. If they're earning 80,000 and above, if they're earning 50,000 and above, but less than 80,000, they will get 5%. If they're earning 80,000 and above, but less than 110% or 110,000, they will earn 7%. If they're earning 140,000 and above, but less than 230,000, they will earn 12%, or they would get 12% of their base salary as their profit sharing bonus. So let's quickly see how we can use Microsoft Excel or Xlookup to do this calculation for us. So we're going to come here to represent the bonus. So I'm going to equal to Xlookup. What is my lookup value this time around? Remember, what I'm looking for right now, the unique constant here or the unique identifier here right now is now their annual base salary. The annual base salary is my lookup value. So I'm going to reference the base salary, comma. Now, where is my lookup array? Where am I looking for that particular? Where am I looking for the base salary? Where is the exact place I want Excel to look in? And I want Excel to look into these bands that have been stated. What do you want it? The next argument says return array. What do you want it to return in return? Now I want it to return the whatsoever bonus this person or whatsoever bonus that is corresponding to their annual base salary. That's what I want Microsoft Excel to return. So I'm going to highlight the percentages. Now again, remember we are looking for an approximate match, because if we look at each of these base salaries, they are in fraction and they are undulating, they are not static. However, the base salary here, the base salary band that we've been given is kind of static. It's a band that says if they are earning more than 50,000 but less than 80,000, they are entitled to 5%. If they are earning 140,000 and above but less than $230,000, they are entitled to 12%. So you want to set those criteria or those business rules inside this particular function. So let's quickly go to the search mode functionality. So I'm going, oh, sorry, we're going to the match mode still. So I'm just going to go, the first one says if not found. The next one says match mode. Am I looking for an exact match? No, I'm not looking for an exact match. But this time around, I'm looking for a next smaller item. Next smaller item in the sense that I'm basically trying to look at Excel, look at the lookup array, and compare it with my lookup value. Which one was smaller to it, and return that particular value for me. That is, so let's quickly look at it. So we'll say next smaller item, right, is the option we want to go for, and we'll pick that, and I will close my bracket and I'll hit enter. Now we would, by the time we review this, $83,000 is this person's base salary, and anybody that would earn $83,000 is already earning more than $80,000, which is here. So anybody that is earning more than $80,000 but less than $110 will earn 7%, and Excel has returned 7% to us. So we can safely drag. However, I've not logged my cells, or I've not logged my so I'm just going to quickly do that right now. Here, right. So I'm going to then safely drag down so that we're getting a correct figure. Now we can quickly do a cross check. So let's look at Dayo Adekunle, who earns $218,000 every month. Now this person earns more than $140,000, but not up to $230,000. So that is why this person will be entitled to 12%. Let's look at Cynthia Jules, who earns $129,000. This person earns more than $110,000 in our data set, but it's not up to $140,000. So this person will be confined to earn 10% of their annual base salary, and that's why we have 10%. Now we'll look at Linda Aigbe, who has nothing, and that's because Linda is not earning up to $50,000, which is our starting base salary that we've been given, or that's the instruction, or that's the rule we've been given. It says the person needs to be earning $50,000 and above, right? And that's why it has 5%, or that's, so if you're earning $50,000 and above, you're entitled to 5%. But this particular staff member is earning less than that, and there is barely any percent or anything that this person will earn. Of course, we can fulfill the argument and use if error and have zero, and so that we don't see this if error, so that we don't see this any or not available or not applicable error, whatever name we give it, right? So basically, that's how we can use the approximate. That's how we can use Xlookup to find an approximate match within Microsoft Excel. Now let's use Xlookup to perform an horizontal lookup. In this data set, the data set has been transposed, that is, it has been bent over. We're not reading from top to bottom this time around, but reading from left to right. You can see the name here, the name, and the names go on the horizontal line, and the department, the same thing, monthly salaries, the same thing, and 13th month allowance. So we're going to use Xlookup to do this, very similar to what we've done. So I'm going to call Xlookup equal to Xlookup. Now this time around, what's my lookup value? Still the name. So I'm going to reference the name. My lookup array, where do I want to look up the name? Is in the employee master sheet, the column that is named employee name. So I'm going to highlight it like this, and we'll lock my cell, then comma, what's the return array? I'm looking for the 13th month, very similar to what we've done earlier. And I'm going to highlight it that way, and I'm going to lock that cell too. And again, what we're trying to also do is to also take care of the HNAs that may come with it. So I'm going to continue, and I'll fulfill the first optional argument, and I will say comma 0, so that if it is not found, if you do not find this lookup value, please just return 0. So I will close that bracket and I'll hit enter. Now that is that is done. And because I have logged my cells, I've basically fixed my cells, so I can drag it all across and I would have my answers correctly. So the ones that are not in the data set, they come back with 0 or we come out with blank cells. All right, so this is correct, and that is how Xlookup performs multiple functions. If we remember the other time when we looked at this, our lookup value is here, but our lookup value is not even to the further, it's not to the farther left of our data set like VLOOKUP would want us to, right? So we could and we didn't have to be specifying column index number or having to start counting how many columns, and we could really figure things out. So basically that's how Xlookup can help us achieve horizontal lookup within Microsoft Excel.